Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Talking to Jason. Yes, talking to Jason. Giving them all me woes and everything else. Strange, my telly's broke. I've got no telly. And this is where, I gave me DVD away because there's no need for it. And loads of films as well. And this is the time that you should have your DVD just in case your telly breaks, but at least you can have your DVD on. Oh, blimey, I was sitting here, got no telly, no nothing. Anyway, I phoned this fella up, and he's coming out at 11 o'clock in the morning to see me. Uh, it's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. And it's one of those things, isn't it? If something happens to your telly, and I'm only here on my own, and that's the only entertainment I have. It's my telly, putting films on and whatever. And I haven't got it on. Only the sound went off. So that's it. That's it. And the little pod tonight, the little history show. So I've got that on. And as I said, sorry I'm late. And I've got the great Anthony with me. So he can commiserate with Frank about that. And anyway, I was on Facebook, and remember when I got hacked? Well, went under another name, well, not another name, went under Scouse Francis, and that's been thrown off as well. Oh, it's just a terrible day. Terrible day. Monday morning blues. God blimey. Anyway, here's Anthony.
Good evening, Frank. Good evening, all. I'm kind of glad you were a bit late because I couldn't get the link to work. Okay. Technology is a magnificent thing, as we know, but when it doesn't work, you just want to pick up a sledgehammer and hit the computer with it. So I was on the verge of getting a hammer, and I sent a quick little one-liner.
Yeah.
You see,
so Jason, he's the lifesaver, isn't he, Jay?
He's the invisible third member of our trio.
Well, yeah, he is actually. And I just want to thank my sponsors. And my sponsors are Gap Painting Services, and they're absolutely brilliant people. And as I said, these lads, they're in and they're out. They do a fantastic job. They sponsor the Frank Carlyle Show. And get them in. If you're at NHS work here, special discount. If you're an elderly, I hate saying elderly. If you're a senior, you get a special discount. But even if you don't fit into those categories, believe me, honestly, believe me, it's a great, you get a great reasonable price, honestly. No matter what you want to, if you want your outside doing, for example, you want your windows done, painted and get them in, don't struggle. If you've got a tough little job in the house itself, get them in, don't struggle. And they're in and out, first class job. And that's Gap Painting Services. And there it is. Just the fully insured and the fully time served lads as well. So there's no cowboys or anything. They're in and out. Believe me, the great lads. And thanks a lot to Gap for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle Show. And there's Songs 4K. Hey, up Frank, another week, another win. Can't get away from Liverpool. Another week, another win. Well, it just shows you, doesn't it, Anthony, that you can't get away from football, unfortunately. Hey, Anthony, I'm feeling more senior than I am. It must be our grey hair, mustn't it? He's looking at me. Feeling more senior than I am.
I know.
Join the club, you'll be in a good club.
Mine was gone white when I was 30 odd.
Mine went white when I got divorced.
I bet that, that does have a remarkable bearing with it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what, Tom?
Your TV?
Yeah,
TV on the blink again?
yeah. And it's just nuts, you know. When you, it's hard to explain. It really is hard to explain when you've got no TV. You've got no TV. You know, everything is there. I've got all the gadgets. I've got everything. And then all of a sudden it just went bink, out, off.
That's
And it was off for about 3 hours, you know. I was trying to
well,
get it back on, turning it on, turning it off, doing everything. And it just wouldn't come on.
wow.
So I had to phone this fella up. I said, listen. He said, that shouldn't do that. I said, I know it shouldn't. So he said, I'll be down 11 o'clock in the morning. Whether he does or not, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure he will, and hope he'll fix it. But it's a strange one, and though I don't go along with that. We get older, but we're not old thing. But we
Yeah,
can remember a TV in the corner of the room, three buttons, off, on, whatever. And it worked. Never let us down for years. Um, and then we all become digital. It's like radios.
yeah,
And he said, all your old analog radios, throw in the skip because you can't use them anymore. From this date, you've got to get a digital stuff. Well, we always had an old radio because, as happens now, um, we can't listen to the match, Radio Merseyside or whoever, on a radio unless you've got permissions to do that, or unless you go through the TV and you've got the channels. We've got an old radio that we turn on, FM radio, turn on, static maybe, we'll find the site, match on, no problem. Never let us down. And it's there on the back wall in
yeah.
where we come and listen to the match. And it's like when all else fails, you know, TVs with 800 channels or whatever they've got, streaming this, streaming that.
I know that, but to be honest, I don't like listening to the radio. A match, especially a match. God, blimey. I don't know if watching is on the telly, never mind on the radio,
No,
because you don't know what's really going on.
yeah, commentators can be a bit ruthless.
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. And that's just the way it is, actually.
That's
So one
just
of the lads said to me, he said about, it was on the pod, I was doing a football show, I think, or the film show I was doing Saturday, not quite so sure. And he said about, I'll show you this in a moment. So I said, I'll get it up for you the first few minutes of the show. So I'll get it up for him. But I just want to remind people of this. And it's,
the Halloween nights, yeah.
yeah, kids old at the oldie. It's
Yeah.
Halloween, free event, party. Wednesday, October the 30th, 5 till 8 it is. It's
Yeah.
5 till 8, for the kids. Free
Yeah.
entry, music, drinks, food, games, and it's completely free for our community. The Oldie Club, Copy Lane, Aintree. And it's brilliant. It really is brilliant.
Yeah.
These particular events. And, they do go out for the kids. They do go out for the kids, so bring your kids along. And it's until, as I say, it's until 5 till 8 o'clock.
No. That's fantastic, and it's a far more safer option than
Yeah,
allowing your kids to go wandering, knocking on doors, trick or treating or whatever. Keep them with
oh,
you.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right. The bloody nuisances, cricket trees, you know, especially when they're on their own and they're not properly organised, you know, with parents going around with the trick and treaters. But you do get the odd few who go around, and some of them are really nasty, you know. But that's the way it is, and I don't like it actually because it's Americanism. We brought us over here where we
that's
shouldn't.
what I would love to hear a show one night. We're talking about the origins and what it means in England because we never called it Halloween. It was just
No,
apple.
took up all night, took up all night,
Yeah.
took
Um,
up all night it was.
Obviously, there's a reason why we celebrate it, and I know the old mythology on the. This is where we need the likes of Jamie and stuff with us, but All Souls Night, no.
Yeah. And
So
don't forget, it has something to do with witches as well. You know,
yeah,
duck apple.
yeah.
It's like ducking the witches in the water.
Well, that's
And if, you know, if they drown, I know it sounds mad, but this is the way it was with the witch hunt,
yeah,
Hopkins's witch hunt. And you know, when you go in the water, if you come out and you're dead, you weren't a witch.
yeah.
You weren't a witch
No,
because witches live. You can't kill them or whatever, like unless you burn them. So duck apple is like that. That's where that tradition comes from.
it's like yeah, because I've been reading a lot about in our talks, in your talks over the past few months, and we've touched on the subject of medieval England.
Yeah,
Um, for like then, so witchcraft or a form of witchcraft and a belief, um, and us Celts up the northern part of the British Isles
yeah.
were firmly behind that. That predated religion.
Of course it did. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You know, when they used to talk about paganism and see when the Romans invaded in AD 43, what you had like their religion. You like their religion, and that was a sort of paganism. You know, their gods, the
There you go.
likes of Mars, if you know what I mean. You know, the
Yeah,
god of war. That's who they adored and worshipped and whatever. Then it's all changed with Christianity, and it was Emperor Constantine who said, right, okay, you know, we're going to embrace this because the Romans, that's why they threw the Christians to the lions, you know, and whatever in the arena.
yeah,
And he just said, okay, you know, any Christianity, any form of Christianity. And so it wasn't until he just emperor, he just turned around and said, okay, you know, we'll embrace it. So it more or less became a Christian country there. Italy, you know, Rome, so we just say Rome. And the very first martyr, incidentally, the very first happened here in England. And what it was a Roman soldier. It was a Roman soldier named Albinus. And he was a Christian, but he was hiding it from, his legion. He was hiding it from them that he
yeah,
was a Christian. And when they found what you call a Chi-Rho, and it's Greek for a cross, Chi-Rho, on him, they stripped him of his uniform and everything and put him to death, this Albinus. And they put him to death in, where they put him to death, it's called today St. Albans. after Albinus, because he was the first martyr, Christian martyr.
Wow.
Besides the Christians getting thrown to the lions, but I'm just saying about in this country, he became the very first Christian martyr, Albinus, St. Albans.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Even in Frankie says Tony LFC and 2 pints. Hello, Anthony. 2 scotches.
Thanks, Tony.
And Songs for Kay said, I saw the Geordie celebrating Haaland getting roughed up, saying, that's for Lindisfarne. Look at the Vikings. That's a cracker, that. That's for Lindisfarne. It just shows you, doesn't it, the likes of the way people perceive like history. And I just want to show what this lad wanted. He mentions about the sailor's home, and he said, can you tell me anything about it? So the sailor's home was built in 1841, and this is what I try to give the bigger picture about the sailor's home. I really do. I try to give the bigger picture, because it's not just a beautiful, beautiful building that was demolished in 1974, and the whole was still there until Liverpool 1 came along, which is an absolute disgrace. Disgraceful, the way they just left. They didn't have to knock it down. Just imagine that today as a hotel.
Amazing.
Or even accommodation,
Yeah.
because we started, these warehouses and everything else into accommodation for families and whatever. Just imagine that.
Yeah.
Fantastic building. But the history behind it, and this is where, it falls down on some people, because who walked through those gates from 1841 onwards was lads going to wars and never returning.
Yeah.
Going to wars and never ever returning, going back through those gates. Because Liverpool, there was lots of mobilisation in any war. Any war, there was all the mobilisation here. Whether it was the First World War going before then, the Crimean War going before then, all the wars that you can name, the lads were leaving here. The armed service, not just the sailors, but also soldiers.
Soldiers, yeah.
Yeah, just leaving there. And it's just sad. James A. Good evening, guys, says James. Good evening, James.
Evening, James.
And James carries on by saying, it would be haunted like the Adelphi, Frank. Would it be haunted? Most probably would.
Probably would be.
Most probably would. If you believe in the paranormal, that is. Yeah, why not? And Songs for Cases, 1840, peak empire, lots of money. I didn't realise how cosmopolitan Liverpool was back then because of shipping. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It was a very cosmopolitan city, was Liverpool. It wasn't even a city. If you could imagine, 1840, for example, there was more millionaires living in Liverpool than anywhere else in the world, put it that way. And yes, we didn't get our city status until 1880 because of the envy. Because if you look at 1840, what we produced here was phenomenal. We produced the very first dock system, hence the Sailor's Home. The very first dock system in the world opened its gates in 1715. 1715. Then by 10 years before 1840 and 1830, we opened up the very first passenger railway system in the world. And yet we didn't get our city status. We didn't get our city, and it was all jealousy. It's as simple as that. Envy. There's always been envy against Liverpool for some reason.
Yeah.
And it really knocked me down, And James says he's answering to Songsport, okay? Thatcher destroyed this great port. Of course he did.
She did.
Of course he did. And what saved it? What saved us from going into apathy, believe it or not, was football. Because both Liverpool and Everton were great teams. Liverpool was destroying Europe. It was just great. And that gave us a lift. The Evertonians were being lifted as well by their team. They had a great team. So Liverpool was the capital of football at the time in the 80s. So it lifted all the apathy. Going right through the 80s until Hillsborough in 89. So that's a good point there. Destroyed Thatcher. And my grandfather came to the UK through the Mersey from Guyana in the 1940s. He came through to go to war, most probably, because that's what we were doing. We were grabbing, no matter, like I know where Guyana is, and a lad by the name, it's not Clark, is it? James Clark, is it?
James Clark.
It's not him. It's not. That's not your granddad, is it? No, he was before them, James Clark. He was before them because he came from Guyana. He jumped ship in Guyana and got here.
He did, yeah.
James Clark. Great man. Oh, legend. Great swimmer. Yeah. And he was what do you call him? What do you call them people who go underwater and they dance in the water?
Yeah.
What is it? Sink. Anyway. And he was one of them. He was great. And do you know what else he did? He used to go right to the bottom of the pool. He had a bucket over his head. And he used to sing, what did he sing? Get the bloody song, Waltz Matilda, some other. Anyway, he used to sing a song. Fantastic. And he saved lives in the dock. He used to dive in when kids were in stress, struggling in the canals. And that's what he did, James Clark. He became and he was a boxer as well. He used to do a bit of boxing.
He taught the police, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
How to dive.
Yeah.
Obviously, living as we know in the areas that our family originated from, the canal is there, the waters are there, and it was a common occurrence for young people, and not just kids, but people to fall in.
Yeah, but I understand that, but there was no entertainment for kids. There was nothing.
No, I know that. Yeah,
absolutely nothing. But anyway, he came over around, I think it was 1900. He jumped ship in 1900.
Yeah.
And obviously, no one's seen black people. No one. Believe it or not, no one's seen them. And when he jumped ship, he was walking along the dock road. And all these kids, now, shouting at him. And anyway, a family, a man named Crawford, he said, hey, they'll behave. And they brought him in, the Crawfords.
Yeah.
Just off Scotty Road here.
Yeah, just off the road. Yeah. I had Laney and I had the utmost pleasure of meeting his twins.
Really?
So, yeah. Now many years ago now, about 20 years ago, up at the back of yours when a plaque was unveiled in his honour,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and
I know. Sorry,
Ron
go on.
and his team was there. Um, oh, incredible, man! Yeah. If we go back to an imaginary at the moment exhibition of our heroes of this city, he would definitely be amongst them.
Yeah, yeah. Definite hero.
Yeah,
Liverpool hero, that is.
yeah,
He used to go down boxing in Pudsey Street. That's where my Uncle John used to train and fight and whatever until
yeah,
the stadium was built.
yeah,
The stadium. Uh, you couldn't build that now, but the building materials are no more, says KP, and the cost would be unbelievable. What a showstopper of a building, yes.
yeah.
And when I was trying to think of the synchronized swimming, yeah, synchronized. Thank you, KP. Saved me life. Thank you. And James says he was in the Merchant Navy and got bombed twice.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It reminds me, this is genuine, this, what James has just said. And I interviewed, Daniel Craig, the James Bond.
Yeah.
I interviewed his granddad, and he was unknown then, to be honest, Daniel Craig. And I went over to interview him. I was asked to interview him. So I went over. Now, and as I said, what James, he was bombed twice. I'm not laughing at that. It's just like what I'm going to say, which is coincidental. And his granddad, Daniel, this fella who was talking to, he was an officer. And he was an officer in the army. And he was at Dunkirk. So anyway, when he got back, he says, I'm resigning my commission. So he went he went into the Navy, got torpedoed, got back and he said, I'm resigning my commission. Then he went into the RAF and got shot down. He said, I'm resigning the commission. So he joined the intelligence, and who became his mate, believe it or not, was Ian Fleming, who wrote James Bond.
Yeah.
He became his mate, and it was incredible. Just imagine if Daniel Craig was James Bond then, playing James Bond. You
Wow.
know, because he was a great friend of Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond.
What a fantastic link.
Yeah, brilliant. My telly's broke. It's gone off. I can't get it on. Nothing. It's just got to phone the fella up. He's coming out in the morning. I don't know what's wrong with it. I just can't. The sound's on, but there's no picture. He was down today, Jay. Can't get a picture on anything. Well, it went off on Saturday as well for a couple of times. But I just thought it was, I don't know what it. Anyway. And the songs for Merchant Navy was incredibly dangerous and rough in World War II. Well, to be honest, it was. And crossing the Baltic, to get to Russia was dreadful. There was a few incidents where sailors actually froze to death on the deck. And others, there was loads of them. It was swept overboard by all those gigantic waves and the tossing of the ships, getting to Russia. And Russia, believe it or not, were the only country, not the only country, rather than this country, I'll say, that commemorated every death of every seaman in a place called Archangel. They've got a massive memorial with all the names of the perished, of the sailors, the British sailors. We didn't have it, and these were merchant seamen, by the way. They didn't have them up. They never had them here. And it was Russia Archangel who put all these names up, which is a fantastic gesture because they supported them because of the dangerous waters that they were coming in to give them, supplies, whether it was food and arms to take on the Germans. Brilliant. That was a good thing there. And James says, also, don't forget that's where the word woollyback came from. Well, the words woollyback came from, believe it or not, St. Helens. Because the dockers at the time, what was happening was our dockers, look, you've got to understand before all this technical stuff came in. And they used to carry the sacks to these lorries, coming down, when they're coming down off the crane. It wasn't going on lorries or carts or anything. So what had happened, they used to put these sacks, and sacks were rough. And there used to be things sticking out of them, just depending on what was inside the sacks, what cargo it was. And it used to scratch the backs. And these St. Helens fellas, they used to go down and get their gear and put them on their horse and carts or whatever it was, the motor vehicles, trucks. And what they had on the backs to stop all the scratching was the hide of a sheep. The hide of a sheep. Hence, woolly-backs. Oh, yeah, there's the woolly-backs. That's where that came from. And Tony LFC says, Daniel Craig's mum was my art teacher in Edinburgh. Go away. See how small the world is.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't know that. That's brilliant, that song. And songs for, that's great. I've heard of those Baltic missions, unbelievable conditions. Frightening. Oh, dear. Phone me later. Jay, I will, right after this show. I will. Or I might phone you during my break about 9 o'clock. I'll give you a quick bell. Because he's a genius. Jay. Two J's, two geniuses. So I just checked 12,000 merchant navy casualties in Wales War One, 23,800 in Wales War Two.
Wow.
World War Two. Some great comments here, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Fantastic comments. And James says, Frank, the numbers of 007 from the Queen Victoria days, she had a close servant who went into dark magic, so his letters, so his dark letters were stamped 007, but the top of the 7 went across the notes. Wow. Didn't know that.
No, heard it.
Know that. That's mad there, isn't it? That's mad, that. And Richard Hutchinson. Hi, Frank and guest and chat. How are you? And also, how was your family, friends, loved ones? Many thanks. They're all right, I think. Our Francine's working, till late. Till late. James says, 007 meant for her eyes only. That's fact, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Go along with that, James. What comments tonight? Fantastic. Really fantastic. Oh, Will P. Even if Frank and Anthony Brown and all. Oh, you will. Oh, you will, mate. That's lovely, that. That's lovely. And you know what though? You know the likes of Will. Hey Will, if you're still with us, when is there any idea when Nuke's coming on? If you've got any idea, or if you're updated on anything, Nuke Airport, and I get the thumbs up from, oh, that's great, that, yeah, I really mean that. The Irish Sea is unforgiving without any U-boats or fighter planes, etc., says KP. Well, it was. There was lots of ships lost, lots of it, and it was shocking. It really was shocking. Joanne Stevens. Hello,
Oh,
Joe.
that's my
Hi.
cousin.
Oh, is that your cousin?
You've met Joe over the years.
Oh, okay. And she says, "I both. Lovely talking to you today, Arla Tony." Doesn't speak to me, though, does he? Doesn't give me a ring.
Well, she knew I was going to pass it all on to you. No.
You know. And songs for at KP. The old ferries across the Irish Sea rolled so much it was frightening. Well, I'll tell you something about. Yeah, just let me read this. New cams being fitted, Frank, but engineering's away till next week, apparently. Oh, okay. Thank you, Will. Thanks for updating me on that. Thank you so much. I'm going to show you something here. Let me go through this. And there it is. Look at that. That's where it was, first built, to be honest. Look at it. And look at that street. It's incredible. That's how it was. Oh, that's a Herdman. That's a Herdman, one of the Herdmans.
Yeah.
And look at the parade there. Now that was it was Prince Albert, and when Prince Albert came, he was opening up the dock, and also it was just great. And there you go. There you go. The foundation stone for the Sailor's Home. How about that? That was
Oh,
the foundation stone, and he laid it. He laid it, and look at it there. Isn't that magnificent?
and some town planner took it down.
Shocking. Shocking. And Port Merion, when you go around there, you've got all the wrought iron. That's not from there. That is from there. I think I might have it here. Yeah. Now, those gates, I mentioned this, I think, last week. I'm not quite so sure whether it did. But me and a fella, a lad named Phil Griffiths, I don't see him anymore. I haven't seen him for years now. And we fought to get them back from the Midlands because they were just lying on it, like, some, I don't know whether it was disused factory or what. They were just lying there. And we fought for them to get back because, as I said at the opening, the people who walk through those gates go back to it. The people who walk through those gates never came back. They never came back. And that's the bigger picture. And they were just lying there. They were doing nothing. They were doing nothing, can't they? And I fought to get them back along with Phil Griffiths. And then when we finally got them back, and they were doing them up, and people who I didn't even know were jumping on the effing bandwagon. They were jumping on the bandwagon.
I can imagine.
It was sickening, hadn't it? It really was sickening. I just wanted to give a thumbs up. Yeah, when you think about it, you know, these people, I didn't even know that. And it's as though that they got them back. That's what got me. And I said to Phil, the brilliant melodies. It's as though they've got, oh yeah, look what we've got. We've got them. Not one of them. There was a little fella. I'd love to have seen him in the, face to face. I'd love to have seen him. Cheeky get he was. As though he got them. He didn't even know about them. He didn't know about them until someone informs him, oh, they're doing what Sailor's Gates? Oh, they're doing them up now. We got them back from it. We, not me and Phil. Not me and Phil. And I didn't even get in. I said, I'm walking away from this. I'm walking away. I don't know these arseholes. I really did. That's what I said. I don't know them. Who are they? And they're jumping on. They're jumping all over as though, well, look at us. Anyway, I walked away from them. I said, I've done my job. I got them back to Liverpool. They're getting done up. That's me now. And I walked away. And you know what? I didn't even get invited to the unveiling. Never got the invite.
Sadly, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's the way.
Too many quangos and pockets of assholes.
Horrible. Joanne says, Frank and Vicky's cousin too. Francine's, oh, Vicky, right, yeah. She's good in there, Vicky. Francine's mate, yeah. Nice girl is Vicky. She is. I'm not just saying that either. I'm just saying that. Miniature bottles flying everywhere across the ferry bar. Yes. It just shows you, doesn't it? When people, as I said, it's a small world. Now, there's Joanne saying about Vicky's, being Vicky's cousin and Vicky's Francine's mate.
Yeah.
Small world. And James says, more millionaires lived in Rodney Street than the whole of London. They did. Rodney Street was, it was the Mayfair or Kensington or anywhere else of London.
Yeah.
Rodney Street. And when you think that the likes of Gladstone, that was his own. Unbelievable. Yeah. William Roscoe lived there.
Yeah.
And I tell you, one of the greatest people, female, who lived there as well. I'll get back to it a little bit later, but I'll just say this, that just around the corner was Felicity Hemans. I don't know whether it's Hemans or Hemans, Felicity Hemans. And she was a great writer, an unbelievable writer. And she was writing about her brother. She lived in Upper Duke Street, just around the corner from Rodney Street, Felicity. Mm-hmm. And the next was, she said, a brother, again, he was in the Napoleonic Wars. He was with Wellington.
Yeah.
He was actually with Wellington in the Napoleonic, and she was writing about him. He used to send her letters. And she wrote a great book about him. And about, from the letters he was writing. And it wasn't misinformation or the propaganda or anything. It was just what he was going through.
Yeah.
Like Napoleon.
Just sharing.
And she wrote a great book,
Yeah.
Felicity Hemans, who just lived around the corner.
Yeah.
So, you do have these guys. There was two brother and sister who also lived in Rodney Street. And their names was Arthur and Anne Clough. Arthur and Clough. Now, Arthur Clough is was a romantic poet. The likes of, the era, all the romantic era, of the likes of Wordsworth, William Blake, Browning, Keats, all those, and he was in the same category as them, Arthur Clough, from Rodney Street. And his sister, don't forget, there wasn't nothing for women. There was not, albeit that they were very intelligent, and they had governesses, to teach them. They just became governesses themselves, and they used to teach, the wealthy.
Yeah.
The wealthy. And she went like, this is not good enough. Now, this is Anne Clough, Arthur Clough's sister from Rodney Street. And she said, this isn't good enough. So she opened up, what's the bloody name of the college? In Cambridge University. The first university, college for women. And she opened it up from Liverpool.
Fantastic.
And from Rodney Street. And, these are the people that have been forgotten.
Yeah.
These are the people that have been forgotten. Just go through some of these. KP says, it was a criminal act knocking down that magnificent building. Yeah. What clown gave the okay for it to be demolished? Town planning. Town planners having a clue. And it's annoying. They are, look, all the balustrades there. And they all went to Port Merion. They all went. Funny enough, I was getting a lift. Me and this lad's going to work. He was going. Where was he going? I forget where we were going. We were going to some college, and I get a phone call because I was on a show where remember Willie and Sean Stiles and Willie Miller. I was on their show, and I was talking about these gates and these things. I was talking about getting the gates back. I said it's great, to get these things, giving them the bigger picture, and they were going, "Ooh, isn't that great?" Anyway. And I said, Port Merion, this is straight. Port Merion has got all the balustrades and everything from the Sailors' Home. So anyway, I'm in this car, and I get a call on my mobile, and it was Welsh TV, some radio station, and they went, "Hello, is this?" I said, "Yeah," and they said, "Are you thinking of getting, the balustrades back from Port Mary?" I said, "No." I said, "No." I said, "No." I said it was just the gates, that were in there. I don't know whether it was the East Midlands or the West Midlands. I said, "No," and he was laughing. He said, "Well, that's a big relief." What would we have done? He said, "Congratulations for getting them back," and that was he said, "Can you do an interview?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm on my way to college, and I'm doing, got to work. I'm in a car now." He said, "Okay, thank you so much." So, I was only on for about 5 or 6 minutes. That's all.
You never know who's coming it.
No, you don't.
Because we've got using your airtime now. It's like we meet some lovely people and we meet the opposites, but the lovely people just share and put things out. And Sean Styles, Radio Merseyside, I hope he's still there. I don't know, I haven't seen him for a while. He is such a giving, big-hearted guy, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned him. I don't know Willie so well, but Sean was great, is great. So all the best, Sean, wherever you are, mate.
Well, I'll give you another story about Sean and Willie. And again, it's just mad who actually listens to the castle here, right? The castle, honestly. I was on their show, yeah, because they used to go out on a Sunday morning, didn't they?
Yeah,
I used to go for a bevy afterwards, I used to go for a couple of beers with them afterwards. Anyway, I'm talking about this. I said, I brought all my students up to the castle, and they went, well, where is it? And I mentioned where it was, Rivington Pike, a place called Horwich. I said, that's where it is. I said, Lord Lever, who actually owns the site, I said, and it's on the banks of a reservoir. I said, and when you look over, I said, if you go back to like when the castle in Liverpool was built, I said, it was on the banks of the Mersey. I said, so that was ideal for him because he wanted to build a castle, near enough the site that it was originally built. And that's, I said where the law courts, the new law courts, I said, where the law courts are today. I said, so he wanted to build them there. And they said, no, that's all earmarked for their housing. So he said, okay, I'll build them down at Ilfoot Avenue. He said no, because that's built, that's for housing too. Anyway, so he said, okay, and this is in around 1905. So he decided, with this land, he decided to build a castle up at Rivington because he owned it. And the reservoir was ideal, because of the Mersey. So he replicated the Mersey.
yeah.
He replicated the Mersey. Absolutely amazing,
So,
And anyway, but we get onto this, haven't we? Get onto this. There was someone sent down, and it was the following week I seen Willie and Sean. And they Sean would tell you, Sean Styles or Willie Miller would tell you, they sent down a paper, the Horwich Times, and it said, because Willie and Sean were going, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll send up we know a couple of lads with these big artics. He says, and we'll take it brick by brick, and we'll bring it back to Liverpool and build it. We were laughing and joking. I was saying, "Oh, that'll be great!" Yeah. So we say, and in the Orange Times it says, Willie Miller and Sean Styles and Frank Carlyle plan to take the castle, the Liverpool castle off the banks of the reservoir. Yeah, that was in the Orange Times. Oh, nuts! Absolutely, blue paper it was.
I used to love listening to them on the radio.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, man.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will says, don't forget to hit the likes. Thank you, Will. Thank you. And KP says, those gates must be worth a fortune. The worth a fortune in lives. That's all I can say. Lads who went out and never came back through them. And James says, hello, dear, says, John D. Elizabethan 007. Scientist, magician, and spy. The Facebook symbol is a Masonic cane of Balbal 07. It means two bolts cane. We'll get your head around that one. I just thought it meant some spy for MI6. Don't forget to hit the likes. Thank you again, Will. Thank you so much. And James says, interesting fact, the crew of the Titanic has a secret hallway that used to go from one end to another called Scotland Street after the Scotland Road. You're
Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else about that. The ballast was was cobblestones taken from Scotland Road, and that was to bow, the ballast of the Titanic,
Wow.
hence Scotland Road
Wow.
on the ship. That's great, that. Thank you, James. Aren't they great comments? Wonderful comments. Frank, that church on Rodney Street, there's a grave in the grounds of the church that's closed down now. I believe it was the first billionaire in the UK. You could say that. You could. I'll go back to that later on, if I might. If I might. And Jay says, well said, hit the thumb. Thank you. Thank you. Will P. Town plonkers, I think, not town planners. That's well said.
Can't argue with that.
Town plonkers. And KP, I'll go to the break after this. After these little comments here, there's only a couple. Why are these town planners obsessed with knocking history down? Once it's gone, it's too late. Yes. They must all be very narrow-minded or persuaded somehow. Well, they're all narrow-minded anyway. Then half of them are not from Liverpool.
Yeah. No. Fortune.
Great Thompson all the way. Go on, I'm sorry. What was you going to say, Anthony?
I totally agree. You know, from they brought in, they'd served their 6 months, tick boxes on a form, then gone. Yep. And then building. They did it with Scotland Road. They did it with the whole city. And 1971 was a devastating year because so much went.
Well, I'll tell you what I saved. I saved the Collegiate at Shore Street, and I helped to save the post house in Cumberland Street.
Yeah,
I helped to save that, and also the Lyceum, bottom of Bow Street. They wanted to knock that down and do one of those stupid glass dome things. Pathetic. And there it is, the Liverpool Sailors Hall, clothing department and everything. It gives you the prices of everything there, even your lunch, board and lodgings, 8 and 6 per week. That's, you get a menu as well. And look at that. That was a fire. That was a fire. That was a fire. Fantastic. But they saved it anyway. And Ray Thompson says, British industry is now definitely a thing of the past. Port Talbot Steelworks closed today. And the last coal-fired power station in Nottinghamshire has gone. Time's gone by.
Right, Ray. Sad day.
I'm going to finish on this. I'll have to go to the break. I'm awfully sorry. I'll just finish on this. Frank, remember when Liverpool had one Holiday Inn and the radio station facing the hotel? Yeah, I'm sure it was 96.7 radio. Yeah, you're right. You even got the thing, 96.7. And welcome to 96.7 with Frank Carlyle and Anthony Brown. And the first record today is Don't Bring Me Down by ELO. How about that? I'll see you in a minute, Anthony.
Classic. All right, boss.
Mount Pleasant is one of the most unassuming thoroughfares of Liverpool, yet it has a very interesting past. For example, there is a very small garden dedicated to one of Liverpool's greatest citizens, William Roscoe, who was born right here in Mount Pleasant in an inn run by his parents. Roscoe Gardens. Lots and lots of people just walk past it every single day and don't take a blind bit of notice. But follow me, I'll take you in. The man who brought the country's first botanical gardens to Liverpool in 1801. However, this humanitarian's greatest achievement was when he led a group of Liverpool abolitionists who campaigned tirelessly against the slave trade. Roscoe's abolitionists finally won the fight when it was abolished in 1807. Incidentally, the designer of this wonderful memorial was also a Liverpool great, the town surveyor and architect John Foster Jr. And incidentally, he also lived on Mount Pleasant. So if you want to see his house, follow me. This is where he lived. Foster was responsible for designing the likes of St Luke's Church, locally known as the Bombed Out Church, the Grades 1 listed oratory next to the Anglican Cathedral, and of course St Andrew's in Rodney Street, with now the famous Mackenzie's Pyramid Tomb. Oh, it just remembers what I've passed walking up Mount Pleasant. You can't miss out on this. Come on. This is what I forgot to tell you. This wonderful dwelling is the oldest Georgian building in Liverpool, built in 1767. It's just a magnificent example of Georgian architecture at its best. Right next door, when John Lennon was born, just up the road in Oxford Street, he was registered here like so many of Liverpool's other citizens were, famous or not so famous. You most probably were registered here yourselves. And next door again, remember this building? This was Liverpool's own dolls' hospital. Yeah, Liverpool has its own hospital for the sick dolls, a unique institution indeed. And people did actually bring their broken dolls here. You could have been one of them, bringing your poorly sick doll. Ah, bless. This striking building is the Wellington Rooms. It was adopted by the Irish community, and later it became affectionately known as the Irish Centre for many, many years. It was built in 1816 in honour of the Iron Duke himself, Wellington, for his greatest victory in battle at Waterloo over his greatest adversary, Napoleon, the year previous in 1815. I'd love to take you in, but unfortunately, and it breaks my heart this, it's fell into disrepair in the inside. The whole of the ceiling has collapsed.
What do you think of that? Sad, isn't it? You know, I graduated loads of times and used to go in there for a bevy. Used to look at that seal, it used to amaze me. You know, built in 1860. And if the town planners had the way, they'd knock it down. I'm telling you now, they'd knock it down. No qualms. One of the ferries is drive in London. That's the Irish stuff. And the owner, he wanted like 2 million quid for it. But it wouldn't, you know, if he took us off the Thames now and tried to bring us up here, it just falls to bits. That's where the Beatles played on, that one. The Irish. I'll tell you another thing about those gates. Because you imagine the sailors leaving those gates to get to Bruges in World War One, First World War. Going through the gates. And see what had happened. They needed to get through a big boom to get at these U-boats that was doing loads of damage in the First World War to the shipping. And they needed to get through the boom. And someone suggested that the Mersey ferries, they were flat bottomed. They said they could get through. So they seconded them, put all the soldiers on. They got through the boom, which was great. And they came out, they were very successful at Zeebrugge. And, you know, scuppered a load of, I'm not saying a load of them, but they did scupper U-boats. And they came back and they were heavily bombarding the ferries. Hence, Edward VII gave the title Royal. They're the only ships known as, ferries or whatever, and ships, and, you know, whatever ship, big liners or whatever, but these ferries have got the prefix of Royal. Like Royal Britannia. That's it. That's it. They're the only ones in the world with the prefix Royal. And there's 11 VCs won at Zeebrugge. 11. And those lads went through those gates. If you can imagine that. And there it is. If you look at that picture, that's the damage to the, it sickens me, this. That's the damage to the 5th Custom House that was built in 1828 by John Foster Jr. And it was gutted, but I see that they all the roof off and everything there because what they were ready to do there to dismantle it. 2/3 of it was gutted, that's all. It could have easily have been saved, and you had preservationists, you know, saying, stop this nonsense, pulling it down, stop it, save it. Just like the overhead railway. You know, they wanted to save the overhead railway, the first electrified of its kind in the world. Look at that there. Just imagine that now, where Shavash Park is today. Just imagine that. Huge, facing the Albert Dock. And he pulled it down. Corruption, that. Corruption. The overhead railway was corruption. Shock. Councillors, they were all involved in demolition after the war. Oh, they were all made up. One of the ferries is dried up in London. Absolute disgrace. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's the Irish what the Beatles played on.
Yeah. Played on that.
Yeah, it's shocking though. You know, even Lynn says, even in Frank and Anthony, town planners are pen pushers, not a clue. Exactly, Lynn. And I don't think half of them come from Liverpool, to be honest. They're not interested in it. You know, we're building. Not interested in a building. And Will says they're only thinking of their pockets. Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are, Will. Didn't that guy in the Pyramid Shrine in Rodney Street supposedly gamble with the devil? That's the story. See, what it is, it's a fellow named Mackenzie. William Mackenzie. He was a Scottish engineer. And when you come through into Lime Street, you'd always go through a tunnel. Well, he designed that tunnel, Mackenzie. And he lived in Rodney Street. He lived in Rodney Street, which is a very famous street, as one of the lads said, more millionaires living there. And he was the equivalent of a billionaire, if you know what I mean, a multi-billionaire. And anyway, he was an avid gambler. And in his time, his ambition was to have a royal flush. A royal flush. And in his will, he said, you know, if I don't fulfill the ambition in death, I want the royal flush, and I want to be sitting at a table with a royal flush and a scotch in my hand. So anyway, the family went, I'll just bury him. Because Liverpool's built on sandstone, and there was no pneumatic drills then or anything. So anyway, the lawyer said, that's his will and testament. If you don't have him sitting at a table, and don't forget, you've got to go right down to be buried. He said, if you don't have him sitting at a table, you won't inherit anything because of his will. So, and they dug them, whatever they did, and put him on a table on the pyramid. Got these stonemasons in and built a pyramid. And that's what it is. And a pub now in Rodney Street is called Mackenzie after him. And St Andrew's Church is, you know, the Scottish church. It's the Scottish church.
His is one of the ghosts that supposedly walked the streets, isn't he? I've read in a few good Tom Sleman and others have written about him, yeah.
Yeah, KP, 96.7, Frank Carlyle introducing Don't Knock Me Down by the Town Planners. Don't bring me down by ELO. Don't knock me down by the Town Planners. Brilliant. Brilliant, our lads on here. Absolutely brilliant. And Gary Rigby. I'm sitting in Wetherspoons, what used to be Blacklands when I was a kid. Wish I had headphones. Just back from Dublin, by the way. Oh, well done, Gary. I hope you enjoyed your stay over there in Dublin. And he must be looking at us on his phone.
Oh.
I wish I had headphones. I suppose he's got his headphones on now. Surely this building, as the Wellington Rooms, needs to be looked after. It needs to be restored. Fine piece of work, that, Frank. Fellow named Adkins designed it. And just imagine it was built a year after Waterloo. It was built a year after Waterloo, and hence the Wellington rooms. And Songs for 4K says, I has a feeling Joseph Conrad, a merchant seaman, must have known Liverpool. He did his first public speaking event there in honour of the Merchant Marine. Yeah, he did. He did. Joseph Conrad. The Heart of Darkness. I tell you, another fella who loved Liverpool, and he had written off of his novel Robinson Crusoe. It's not Willem Dafoe. It's Daniel Dafoe. I always used to say Willem Dafoe, you know, the actor, but it's Daniel Dafoe, and he loved the castle. He loved the castle. Ray Thompson. I think I'm right in saying, Frank, there is a Liverpool ferry working in Brazil. You could be right, because Manaus, there's a big plaque there. It's got the landing stage, you know, the Manaus landing stage is a direct copy of the longest landing stage in Liverpool. And we still got our landing stage. So you could be right. The very, as you know, Andy, as you know, where did the last tram go?
They've gone to San Francisco, and they've gone to Singapore.
Yeah. The last one, that went straight to San Francisco, didn't it? Then Hong Kong, Singapore, were buying them as well. They ended up buying a few.
Yeah.
Do you know what? We had the blueprint. The blueprint of the very first tram service in the world. We gave it to Birkenhead to see how it would be. You know, the congestion in Liverpool was horrendous. So they said, give it to her. And it worked out great. So then we got it in. And we're the only city, more or less, the only major city in the country without a tram system. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we're the only city, believe it or not. When they started building Millennium buildings, for the millennium.
Yeah.
And we put a proposal in, that Mike Story. And where he put the proposal, oh, beautiful, oh, great, and everything, a big superimposed computer image of this building that was going to be our millennium building. And it was on the site, what you're looking at now, of the Custom House. Until Bill Davis went, hang on a minute, that's my land. That's my land. And that's why they persecuted Bill Davis. They persecuted him that much that he went to live in Monaco. And he still owns buildings in Liverpool. He still owns them. And he owns the Western Approaches. And they wanted it. They wanted that gone. The Western Approach is gone. They wanted to make it into a bloody wine bar.
That's the biggest travesty of it. We have hotel galores, we have all sorts of stuff, but to turn something as historic and sacred as that.
Yeah. In a wine bar, a wine bar. Yeah, wine bars are all the thing, Let's make a wine bar out of it. Piss off. Horrible. And Gary says, Oslo followed by Dublin. No wonder I'm skint. Oslo, that's like, you went to Oslo. £20 a pint Oslo. You'd be all right, pal. You're not skint. You should try and get Ricky Tomlinson on your show, Frank. I've tried. Ricky's a friend of ours, isn't he? He's a friend. But I think he's had, yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to be honest. But I've got no telly at the moment. And KP, if the overhead railway was still in use with obviously up-to-date technology, it could have been extended to the new Everton ground. And Liverpool, to be honest. Let's be honest there. Right in the middle.
Yeah.
In the middle of there, that's, unbelievable. And Ray says, you will never keep hold of our city's heritage and colourful history by destroying it. There's loads being destroyed, right? There's loads of it. Do you ever remember Anthony, that, what was his name? He used to be, horse racing, and it was on the ITV all the time. And John someone, and he had that stupid hat on, big long, side. Do you ever remember it? And he said, Liverpool. Go on.
McCormick.
Like that. And he turns around and said, I was sitting there watching it. And he was up in Liverpool, and he went, this shouldn't be here. It should be that. This is the National.
Yeah.
This is the National. And he said, it shouldn't be here. It should be in the Isle of Wight. I forget the Isle of Wight thing. Race course. Newmarket, is it? Or something like that. He said, it should be there.
Yeah.
Me here.
He really hated Liverpool.
Oh, loved it. Loved Liverpool.
A man of delusions under big ass.
John McKerrick. That's him, isn't it? John McKerrick.
Yeah.
And he said it on the telly.
Yeah.
Up like that, talking to the camera.
Should be some. Why shouldn't it be here?
Was it Newmarket? I'm sure he said. I don't know wherever the Isle of Wight is anyway. Their main. Don't get me started on the overhead railway. Absolute disgrace. It was knocked down. It would look so good today. It would have been fantastic. Corruption. That's what it was. Corruption. Delves into all that. And James says, old Dublin has changed big time. It's like something you see in the Middle East. And I lived there for a number of years. Just shocking. Wow.
I think everywhere is, James, and that's the sad thing, that there's kind of an agreement, unofficial agreement, that every city should have a big glass box in the middle of it, a shopping centre. Aberdeen's the same.
Yeah.
Aberdeen is a beautiful old town, and now big glass box in the middle of it, and everything revolves around that.
And that's the point, the way they change things. But we changed them for the worse, by getting rid of our heritage.
We do, and what it does, it takes the whole identity of a city. When you remove lots of its history, and replace it with glass buildings, you rewiping the blackboard and starting again. So its whole identity is gone. Thankfully we've still got a lot left.
Oh, we've got a lot left, yeah, because we've got more graded buildings, grade listed buildings in the whole of the country, second to London, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's more here. There's more graded Georgian dwellings than there is in Bath.
Yeah.
than there is in Bath. So, you know, we've still got them. But good God, you know, what we could have had.
I know, absolutely. And you can't help think it's as you said, and as some of our team, our guys have said, it it's all down to money. Down to money for upkeep, or sell it off, we'll make more money. It's everything is ruled by money.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Everything. And as Will Peace says, also the very first floating landing stage in the world. Another first for Liverpool. It was half a mile long at one point. It was the landing stage.
Wow.
To be honest, Will, half a mile long. Mersey Railway Tunnel opened in 1886. Say that was fascinating to say. We were the very first here in Liverpool to go underwater and dig a tunnel below the seabed to Birkenhead, Hamilton Square. Very first underwater tunnel in the entire world. Think about that.
Yeah.
And they all copied us, like they copy everything else. And James says, John McKerrick, big
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, to match that. Yeah.
That's that. And Will Peace says, Andy is correct. Destroying all the old buildings takes away the city's character. Such a shame. Such a shame. Right, I'm gonna put something else on now. Look at that. I'm gonna zoom into something here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom into something. Right, and it's that. It's the lockup there, right there in Everton. And that's the crest on Everton's badge.
Yeah.
You know, the now, that people got mixed up with it. I don't know whether I mentioned this last week, I'm not quite so sure. But people get mixed up that it was Rupert built it. Well, Rupert was here. Rupert was here in 1644 between. He was only here 18 days between May and June 1644. You know, when he took the castle, and they said, you know, people say, and it's still a myth today that that's Rupert's castle, and he built it, and he dug a tunnel right down to the Mersey and right down to the castle itself. Is it possible in 18 days? And as I said, they had no pneumatic grills then, so that's just a big fallacy. It's a fallacy. But when you see Everton, when you just look over, just let me just go over a little.
Yeah.
Just look at all that. Look at all that. They were mansions, there was villas, there was a fella by the name of Thomas de Quincey lived there. And he wrote, you know, the Confessions of an English Opium Eater. And William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and Dorothea Wordsworth used to go down and visit him. But they used to sojourn around, you know, doing walks around the Everton because it was very posh. It was like a resort. And he used to go up there and visit them up there. But isn't that fantastic?
Yeah. Amazing.
Look at all the big mansions and everything else. And a fella there, you know, he gave his land. Let's see if we can get it up. Let's see if we can get it. I wonder if it's there. No, it's not there. But he gave his land for St. George's Church to be built. It should be there. No, it's not there. Let's Should be, because that was built in 1814, the church, and it's not far from. God blimey, it's not there. That should be right there.
The detail in that map is just astonishing.
Yeah, there is, but that should be there unless it's hidden somewhere. Unless it's hidden somewhere. Oh, that's a shame, that. That's a bloody shame. That is a bloody shame, St. George's Church, ain't there? I'll have a words with the cartographer. The only thing where he could get mixed up with when he was doing this, that's the water tower. That's the water tower. And when that was built, now here, that's the water tower there, which is still there today. And I think he's put this in the wrong place, St. George's Church. So that looks just like St. George's Church. That should have been along here somewhere. Ah, that's a bloody shame. But anyway, the water tower was built by Thomas Duncan, who was a cousin of William Duncan. And do you know why that was built? I'll tell you why that water tower was built. Because Liverpool was suffering from terrible cholera, dysentery, and typhoid. So when that was built, and then you get the water, that's the water tower, and you get the reservoir that was built just off Park Road, and it's still there today, the reservoir. So what they used to do, that water used to go along to the reservoir, and it used to go into the city. Now, what William Duncan did, he said to this fella, James Newland, he was an engineer, he said, what I want you to do, he said, to go into the sewers and round them off and put them on a slant, so that all the water could come down with the slants, all the deposits that were here, could be flushed away. You see? So that was the water. That's why that fantastic piece of engineering. But I'm just made up that it's still there today. Just made up. Could have easily got rid of that as well. Ridiculous. Just trying to figure out where I am. Love it, honestly. I'm by the dock somewhere. I think I am anyway. Isn't that fantastic? Look at that. Look at that. Just look at that. It's incredible.
You see how industrialized sections of the city were?
Yeah. Absolutely.
The smoking towers.
And have you noticed loads of churches as well? And I mean loads of churches. I don't know where I am. I really don't know where I am. Still on the dock road. I'm afraid I don't know where I am though. Could be anywhere. Could be anywhere. But what I'll do, let's see. I'm useless at this, you know. Did I get it along? Just absolutely useless. Useless. Yeah, gone. Gone now.
So you got to think, why was this produced? This beautiful drawing in the first place for a
I've got it here. Just let me take it down a minute.
yeah.
Hang on. Goes out, see, it opens up. I've had it for years. I've had it for years, this. And it's fantastic. It really is. When I used to give talks and things like that, I used to bring her over a load of, my big maps of things. One of the greatest I've got is of St. George's Hall, taken by a French balloonist in 1885. And it shows you from the Mersey right up to St. George's Hall and Lime Street Station. Fancy, I've got it there. Got it there. I can't get it out. It's too big. And I used to put all these up in exhibitions, and I used to have that right along. And people used to be fascinated by it. Fascinated. Which was fantastic, actually. I just want to see if I can. Let me just try and do something here. God blimey. Let's see all this. Oh, I'll show you something here. Show you something here. Let me get us up. This is good. This is good. Let me get us up. I got that up. Yeah. Great. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I'm going to show now. Right. Let me get it. Let me put it up here. Look at this. Look at the railway, look.
Wow.
See the railway? Isn't that incredible? That there. It really is incredible. Oh, where am I? I don't know where I am. Right. I don't know where I am. Right. So that you've got the railway there. Right. And do you know where that leads to? See there, that's the gas place down by the Mersey, right? At the time. And who worked there was a fellow who he was the very first British aeronaut to cross an expanse of water. An expanse from Dublin to Liverpool. She's Scouser. In April 1817, because no one had tried to go over an expanse of water in a balloon in case they went down, because there was no sea lanes then. And it would have been like more or less certain death. That's why no one had tried. So James, no, not James, that was his dad. James Sadler was the very first British aeronaut after the Montgolfier brothers. So his son became a balloonist. And his dad, James, always wanted to cross an expanse of water from Liverpool to Dublin. And he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He was always like getting blown down, and of course, and he was always landing, believe it or not, in Anglesey. So His son Wyndham said, I'll do that, Dad. I'll do it for you. Shocking. And he died. Where am I now? So that's where he worked. That's where he worked there. For the Merseyside gas people. Incredible. Now, oh yeah, we done this last week, didn't we? Because those were the, to dry out like the kilns.
Yeah.
For this, the warehouse. Look at that. That's the Titanic Hotel today. And this particular beautiful, wonderful thing here.
Yeah.
That was the very first mechanical dock. Not dock. Let's see. Yeah, do that, Jay, please. Yeah. Excellent. Do you know when I mentioned about the balloon?
Yeah.
Now taken in 1885. Jason's going to put us up now. He's going to put us up. Love that man. But when you think that's the Titanic Hotel today, that. And this, as I said, was the very first mechanical bridge in the entire world. And if you couldn't pay your dues here, that dock would open up and the ships would be brought in there. And it was known as the Pawn House Dock, the Stanley Dock, known as the Pawn House Dock.
Wow.
Until you pay dues to get out. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Love it, really love it. Love the way we are, honestly. And you think, oh, come on. When you think about everything, I just want to show something. If you can get it, it's going to be made up with it. If you can get it. Let's see. Oh, I can't get it. Can't find it. Bloody hell. I've got it. I haven't got it. Can't find it. It's a cracking thing. I don't even know where my little thing is now. I know it. No, I can't get it. I'm going to leave this up to Jason. See what he does. And he saw us KPC. What church is that? Have a clue. I know what church you meant going along there. But I didn't know. I was going to show you a couple of churches, actually. I'm going to show you. I'm looking at what Jason's doing. This fella's.
Well, the church towards Vauxhall that campaigners tried to keep open. And in the end, the Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra used to rehearse there. And there's a wonderful lady who we met who was one of the who was one campaigners to keep the church open.
Go on, sorry.
I never got to see inside it. I just saw the occasional snap of it. But it sounds phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. Yeah. It is. And, when you come to think about, some certain things and some certain people back in history, there was a lovely lady, I don't know whether I mentioned her last week, and excuse me if I did, but I think she's worth mentioning. and that was Jessie Crosby of Everton. And she, I think it was St Augustine's Church, and she used to see kids running about in the bare feet in ranks. And what she used to do, she used to go into the leafy suburbs. Now she's a headmistress. Used to go into the leafy suburbs and get, second-hand clothes off, these, like, more or less rich people, for kids. And she used to go back down, and she made the United Utilities and the council put bats in her school because the kids were filthy. There was no bats in the houses or anything like that. It was back-to-back terrace. It was shocking in Liverpool, in the Everton area. Anyway, she got this kid. I think I mentioned this. I'm not quite so sure if I did, but she got this kid. He was playing out. She said, come on, because he used to go to the school. And he was dirty. And matted hair and everything. He was dirty. And she brought him in. And he bare feet, barefoot days, as you know. And anyway, she brought him in. She bathed him. Washed his hair and everything. Bathed him with cream. Like a new pen. Combed his hair. And he went home. She said, go home now to your mother. Dressed him in all his clothes. Because he only had rags on. Dressed him in these clothes that she got from the leafy suburbs, these kids' clothes. She went home and he just walked in the house. And she went, Billy's out. The mother said, Billy's out, playing out. Who are you? And it was her son, Billy. She didn't recognise him because of his cleanliness.
Wow.
I'm going to bring this on now. You're going to love this. Look at that. Look at that. St. George's Hall.
Wow.
Look at it.
Oh, the spires and the towers, and it looks like Venice.
I'll show you something on here. No, I can't show you it on here. Can I show it on here? I don't know. You mentioned Venice. I've got a great picture. But I'll just have to take that off to show you. And it was Venice. Bear with me. I've got it here. I know I have. Yeah, got it. Look at that. I'm going to take it out to show you properly because it's in a folder that's... I love this picture. And Venice, have a look at this. Have a look at this, mate. Just bear with me. Have a look at this. I'll just take this off a minute. I'll have to remember to put that back.
Yeah.
And this was copied from Venice's, the bridges size and everything.
Yeah.
Look at this. I hate removing this one though. Where am I? Oh, here we are. Have a look at this, haven't we? That's Venice here.
Wow.
That bridge. And look at St. Nick's Church and the second tower building. St. Nick's Church and the second tower building, but look at the bridge.
Just
look at that bridge. It's Venetian.
Just absolutely beautiful.
Isn't it? Isn't it just? This is what we've got.
The picture that you just had up, the St. George's Hall, made it even more beautiful with the church in the...
Of course.
In the background.
Of course. Yeah. Just look at this here. Can you see it? And where am I? Yeah, to see this here.
Yeah.
the back of the hotel there.
Yeah.
Now that's Lime Street Station, as you know, and that was the largest glass roof station in the world. Expanse, it was incredible. It was the biggest glass roof in the world at the time. The hotel that you see this, the hotel, where am I? This hotel here, that
Yeah.
Sir Alfred's Waterhouse, incredible, because that was the biggest rooms hotel in the world at the time with 370 rooms. This.
We've got to get it there for the cup of tea.
Oh, look at it. And look at it today, I'm made up that it's being utilised as a hotel. I really am. Don't get me wrong, I really, really am. And you see this building here, I'm glad that I'm made up, Jason put it up. I'm made up. Can I zoom in more on this? Let me zoom in more. Yeah. Brilliant. Just let me zoom in more.
Wow.
Come down. Where am I? Yeah, right. I'm going to show you something here. And I love showing people this. When I'm out with them and I look over from here, by the Stebble Fountain, but I'm looking over there, get them there, and they're looking over and they've got a great view of this.
Yeah.
Now, Cornelius Sherlock, that was the architect, he went over to Rome. He went over to Rome and he was looking around because he got a commission to do a neoclassical building like the rest of them that you see today in William Brown Street. So anyway, he was looking around and he thought, what can I do? Anyway, he went into it. I've been in there loads of times. My favourite building in all the world. Not there, I'm afraid. Not there. But this particular building. And he went in. He was in all of it in the inside. And then he came out and he had another view of the Pantheon in Rome.
Oh.
And when he was looking at it, he thought, wow, this is incredible. Absolutely amazing. Because what you've got, I'll show you this. See the dome here?
Yeah.
The dome. The Pantheon in Rome was the very first dome building in the world. And who designed it was Emperor Hadrian. He designed that because that was his hobby. Building buildings. So anyway, I went to his villa. I see his villa. It's incredible. It's a ruin now, but fabulous. Emperor Hadrian. Anyway, besides being the very first dome in the world, what he couldn't do, he couldn't close it. He couldn't close the dome. And he left it open, that. And this is what exactly. This is a copy of the Pantheon in Rome. Wow. This building. And it was the library then. It was the library. Now it's the museum. And look at that. Look at the size of the library. It's incredible. Incredible. When you think about it, Anthony.
It's different perceptions on what we see. This is what I love about you. You've talked, and we've talked many times about we travel and we're inspired by something and we bring it back or vice versa. We go somewhere and do something,
Yeah.
but it's that inspiration, whether an artist or a writer, um, or more importantly at this time, architecture. So you travel the world and bring it back to Liverpool, and these beautiful buildings are the result of
Oh, yeah, of course.
that
Of course.
inspiration.
And when you look at there, Anthony, St. John's Church, can you see it? Yeah,
That just looks so right there, doesn't it?
yeah. And look at that there. Now, it's a cemetery.
Yeah,
It's a cemetery because the myth surrounding St. George's Hall is, oh, they built it back to front. It should have been going into the gardens. There was no gardens there until 1906. And, St. George's Hall was opened up in 1854.
yeah,
So it was built simply because people, got it back over again, people coming out at Lime Street Station here,
yeah.
looking over there, because that wasn't built then. See this, the hotel, so that wasn't built. They just came out and looked at that. It's only what they do today, Anthony. It's only what they do today.
Mind
Come on
blowing.
the Lime Street Station and go, whoa, look at that.
Look at that. I do it every time.
Well, there you go. There you go. So there is still 2,000 French prisoners of war buried here in St. John's Gardens. They didn't take them up when they decided to landscape it, knock the church down, landscape it into what you've got today. And really, it's officially known as Memorial Gardens because there's lots of memorials to people there, and there's a big plaque, a massive big plaque to the French prisoners as well in there, St. John's Gardens.
Yeah,
And there, go on, sorry.
which is sadly not as visible as it should be. Really,
No, it's not.
your your footage on it, and we talked about it the other month, and
Yeah.
it's like you can't really tell what the lettering is, and you certainly wouldn't be able to read it on a sunny day in the middle of the
No,
garden.
you couldn't, which is sad. Now, I'll give you a couple of things here. Like here, as you know, that's Akenzay. It was Akenzay, that. Akenzay. Right up here as well. Akenzay.
Yeah,
And what they wanted to do, now think about this. When the cathedral became about, from the Bishop Francis Shabas, he started the ball rolling to get this wonderful cathedral built. So they decided, oh yeah, okay. So I'll go back again, right? So what you've got all the neoclassical, there's still a big one to be built there. And that's the Walker Gallery, that's the Sessions House there. So you've got all this on, all this, right? And what they decided to do, these wonderful people, when the cathedral was designed, he said, tell you what, we put it here, Akenzay. And they went, you can't do that. It'll be out of place. That's Gothic. These are neoclassical. You can't do it. So they went, oh, okay then. So they had to decide another site for it. So that site, as you know, became St. Mary's Mount. Now imagine if they were to put it there, you would have had no Mersey Tunnel.
yeah, yeah.
There. It could have been somewhere else, God knows where, but it would have been somewhere else, the Mersey Tunnel. And look at that. Look at that, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's the old municipal building, which is now a hotel, which I made up with, utilised. Now, you mentioned Venice before, and I showed you Venice, didn't I?
Yeah.
Do you see the tower?
Yeah.
The clock tower?
Oh gosh.
That's
Yeah.
Venetian. That's Venetian. And it's incredible.
Absolutely.
I love that building. And look at this.
That's
You couldn't find so many domes. Liverpool have loads of domes.
wow.
Loads of them. Just look at that. Town hall. But look at these others. This is cruelty, in my opinion. The back of here. Cruelty, because what you had, and I've shown you this, I think I have. In fact, I'll show you this on the small screen. Like I showed you the Venice thing. I'll show you this one if I might. Just to put it in perspective, what I'm trying to explain. Just bear with me. Please bear with me. Bear with me on this. You've got it. See that? I'm great, mate. Let me get these bloody things. And it's sickening, though. Every bloody time, it's sickening. What we've knocked down. And when I brought people around, and I've gone there and I said, well, have a look at this, And they go, oh, was it knocked down? Was it bombed? No, we knocked it down in 1954. I'll just take this off a minute. Now, where I'm talking about is behind the town hall. Right?
Yeah.
That particular building here, this one, is still there. And it's a building built by Professor Sir Charles Cockerell. Now, Professor Sir Charles Cockerell did the interior of St. George's Hall when Harvey Lonsdale Elms died, unfortunately, during the building of it. You've never seen it built. So this here is still there. So we designed that, Professor Sir Charles Cockerell. And what I'm trying to tell you is at the back of the town hall here. I'm going to show you what it is. So bear with me when I take this off. Right, I'm going to show you this. This is at the back of the town hall. It was built by John Foster Sr. in 1801. It opened its doors and everything in 1801. This is Exchange Flags, as it was. Look at that.
Wow. Wow.
In fact, let me put that back on. In fact, no, don't forget. That building there, hang on, where am I? That building, I said it was the oh, don't forget, this is drawn from a balloon.
Yeah.
By a Frenchman. So the little scale, it's not out much, but it is out a little. I'll tell you for why. This here, that's the bank that Professor Sir Charles Cockerell built.
Yeah.
And this building, just out of scale a little. Now that is at the back. That's at the back of. Let me take it down again. I'm sorry about this. Please let me remove it. And that's the building there, what I was pointing at. See there?
Yeah.
That's it. Look at that, though. Look at it.
Just
And we pulled it down in 1954. 1954, we pulled that down. It has a big frieze there, up here. Where am I? The frieze there.
yeah.
Statues all around. Yeah, look.
Oh,
Thanks, Jason.
oh my word.
Look at it. And we pulled it down.
Why?
If you could imagine today, Anthony, and the lovely people looking in, stone just like St. George's Hall, as you see today. So sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that brilliant?
Absolutely. Never, ever seen them.
Yeah, that's it.
Beautiful.
That's what it is. That's what that is. And when you're there,
Brilliant.
and that's it. You know what I mean? In its entirety, right around it went, right around to where my fingers are here, right around. It's just
And we knocked it down for the more functional office blocks, did we?
yeah. And when you look, see, this building here, as I said, he must have got a scale out a little. That's all. That was Professor Sir Charles Cockrell. You look at it today, that was to coincide with the rest of those buildings that I've just shown. Sad. So bloody sad. The St. Nick's Church.
Just.
St. Nick's Church. Look, there's the ventilation shaft. And people say to me, well, who's this? I thought that was St. Nick's Church. No, because this church here is St. George's Church.
Yeah.
That was pulled down for Victoria's monument. St. George's Church, beautiful church, beautiful architecture. I want to show you something here. Bear with me. I'm sorry about this. Where am I? Jeez. And there's the custom house. Look at it. the custom house. The custom house and the sailor's home.
Oh, man.
Custom house, sailor's home. How about that?
Just.
Well, I think we just got over time, unfortunately. It's been good tonight, hasn't it?
It's been great, as ever, Frank. It's been great. Great comments from the guys.
If you don't mind, I'll just stay with me while I just go on. Jay says, Frank never got blocked by Facebook. Frank blocked Facebook. I got blocked by because I was in touch with a few people and
Lynn getting off there.
yeah. Get away now, Frank and Anthony.
Good night, Lynn.
Good night, Lynn.
Nice
good. She loves her history, by the way.
Yeah.
She loves her history. And as I'll go back to that one next week. I'll go back to the two maps because I want to show you a couple of things on these, this map and the other map that we had on. So we'll go back to that if you don't mind. I think it's the two of them are great. The two of them. I've got it in a and choreograph is a storytelling technique, says James M.K. That's what I mean by that. Yeah, you've got to choreograph it, haven't you? Get it right sequence and things. Good point, that. James says he's talking to Sung 4K. Queen Victoria was the richest drug dealer ever. She made Escobar look like a pauper because of the opium coming through the port. Thomas de Quincey, Confessions of an Opium Eater, English Opium Eater. They had loads of them all around. That's why they had in 1902, what you call wars in China. It's gone from me. It's gone. Anyway, they were fighting the drug barons in China. In China. Oh, what was it called?
New York.
I forget what they call them. MLM. Frank's too good for Facey.
Yeah, absolute.
And exactly, and Will Pease agreed. James says, you can see the Greek-Roman influence right there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you go and look at them.
And bring it back.
I love explaining them, I love it. And people are made up with it. Wow, says yeah. Nice. Amazing, says KP. St. George's Hall, wow. Our kids, says Jay, our kids be asking, where's the museum gone? We wouldn't build that, and of course we wouldn't, KP.
No.
I'm in the library tomorrow. And if you go into KP, if you go into the Walker, you go in and you go up the stairs, to see all the wonderful things. Have a look at Samson and Delilah. Big picture there. And when I used to bunk off school, I used to go and I used to run in there. Sitting, my little head on the tail. And our teacher came in with my class, and I didn't know that they were going there. And he went, what are you doing here? And I went, I've come with the class, sir, because we've seen them all. He says, you come and see me. And that's when you got slapped at school. So we had to go and see. He says, you were bunking off. I wasn't, sir, honest, sir, I wasn't. I was only 34 at the time, but... So get in there, KP, and have a look at that picture. I was fascinated by it. Look at the stonework, design, sign structure. The whole building is a piece of art. Yes. All the vlogs is just your... If you watch your matches in. Hello to you both. Hope all is well. They have vlogs.
Thank you.
Watch your football. We know you vlogs. The KP is gone. Sorry, I need to go, everyone. I'll catch you up tomorrow night. Good night, KP. You're a good man.
Good night, KP.
Will P. I know everything and everybody has to evolve at times, but some of those beautiful buildings would have made our city to be one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that, really. Was walking around where the castle used to be the other day with my mate. He said that there's a door here somewhere that takes you underground. Not sure if it's true. Yeah, I think he might have heard me, because I went down there with a couple of surveyors. They knew who I was. And anyway, they hung on for me because I was doing something at the time. And I went down with them. Amazing.
Would that be a court building now?
Yeah, it was before the court building, where this building was, went in. Forget the name of it. So I went in there, Anthony, went down these stairs, big flights of stairs, went along this passageway, this massive big iron door, and they opened it. They had these massive arc lights. Brilliant. I went everywhere. Ended up at the bottom of William Brown Street.
Wow.
Look at it. Incredible. And the vlog carries on. As I walk around Castle Street, looking at the old buildings, something I've never done before. Going down side streets I've never been down before. Enjoyed myself, of course. There's loads. And the songs for okay, the Opium Wars. Yes, the Opium Wars. That's who Britain. That's how. Yeah. You're right. The Opium Wars. But there was another name for them as well. Honestly, there was. Just seeing the beginning of the video, Frank, where you talked about the Sailor's Own, Lee Brady. Oh, I'm glad vlogs, because I put that up for you. I put that up for your vlogs. Hope you enjoyed it, mate. That was just for you. And a lovely gem of a film there for you, Frank, from 2001. Frailty. Paxton directs it. Only one he did. Oh, really? Okay. But let me tell you, James, I'm telling you a film to watch now, if you can stream. I can't do anything because my bloody telly's broke. It's called Knox, and it's like not Knox, Knox, Goes Away. It's called Michael Keaton and Al Pacino. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Knox Goes Away.
We'll check that.
It's the best film I've seen in ages. Fantastic. When Jay was down to see me today, I showed him it. MNX, him, that Jay. And I said, yeah, watch the first 5 minutes. And you watch the first 5 minutes. You've got to watch the first like 10 minutes or whatever. Gets you. Grips you. Fantastic. Clever. Fantastic. You've got to watch it. So anyway, Anthony, thank you. Thank you. And as the James said, okay, watch that. But watch Frailty. It's class, man. When I get my telly working, I'll watch it. I've got no telly. I've got bloody Alexa there. I haven't even got a radio. So I'll have to read. I'll tell you what I'll read. The Crucible, Arthur Miller. So I'm all set for my bed when I go to bed, reading The Crucible.
Yeah.
Thank you for tonight. Made up that you called in, and yeah, it was good, wasn't it? And these wonderful comments, every one of them. Every one.
It sets us off take a corner with the comments. It's wonderful.
It is, and as James says, okay, reading is great. We all need to read more. Yes,
Did you?
like I packed me, I stopped me English literature class that I did on a Wednesday morning. I got fed up, to be honest. Anyway, I stopped it. So I did loads of reading. I'm being honest, I'm trying to get away from reading. I tell you what I do love. I love what I've got it somewhere. I know I've got it. I can't put my hands on it at the moment. But it's all, philosophers and what they've said. Not just philosophers, but with the likes of Oscar Wilde and, wonderful people like that.
Well, you put me on to all sorts when we're talking, and there's a name and stuff mentioned. We're talking about one thing, and then we, delve into others. Well, the girls, Lainey and the girls, went out last week and bought me a couple of books, stuff. So I'm catching up on that. Really, poetry, William Blake. So I'm getting my head around that. I've always loved biographies as well, but you can't just read one biography.
Do you know what? A biography, if you're going to read a biography, read, I think it's called Only Me, right? Peter Ustinov.
Oh.
My daughter's away to Italy with me. Do you know when you're lying by the pool or that? I was rolling.
What a brilliant mind. What a brilliant man. I love to see him in interviews, and you watch him over the years, and he always seems to be 1 foot ahead of the game all the time, doesn't he? He's just wonderful, funny, dry guy.
Unbelievable. Love him. See, two of the funniest books I've ever read, biographies, is, I'm sure it's called It's Only Me, Peter Ustinov. You need to get it anyway. And The Moon's a Balloon, David Niven.
I read that in the late 80s, early 90s, yeah.
Isn't it crazy? It's so funny.
Yeah.
Two great men.
Absolutely. The same generation, really, weren't they? Yeah.
And there's Jay saying there, I watched the first 5 minutes of Knox today, and he said, I didn't want to go. But honestly, it grabs you.
Tomorrow.
And James says, thanks very much, Ant and Frank. Class show as always. Thank you.
Thanks, James.
And Will P says, Frank and Anthony, and also our unsung hero, MNX J. Great show as usual. Thank you. Thank you,
Will.
Good night, all, he says.
Thanks, Will.
Good night, Will. Chat soon. So, I'm going to finish now.
All right, Frank.
Go on.
I dropped one seed in. I just clocked not long before we started the show that October is the month of Italian heritage.
Oh.
So wherever you are in the world, celebrate your Italian heritage for the month of October.
Yep. So, that's it. Italiani. Heritage, yeah. Absolutely. And the Prophet, says James, Khalil Gibran, my favourite book, great read.
Wow.
I've never, honestly.
No.
We've seen something in Castle Street, can't remember what it was, but it was one of only two in Liverpool on the pavement. You're talking about the Sanctuary Stone vlogs. Yeah. It's the Sanctuary Stone.
Yeah.
Because he says, do you know what I mean? That's it. I'm finishing. Chat, without you, there'd be no Frank Carlyle Show. You wouldn't be able to, me and Anthony, wouldn't be here for you. And without Jason setting everything up, I mean, look what he done tonight. Look what he done. And I've got to thank Gap Painting Services too, for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle Show. And all you wonderful football fans. I'll see you tomorrow night. Be back next Monday with another history show, and we'll be showing all this stuff again, but different parts. And I'll try and talk my way through everything that you're looking at historically. And one other person I forgot to mention who lived in the wonderful Rodney Street, and that was Sarah Biffin, one of the greatest miniature artists in the entire planet. And she had no arms, no legs. True. Mark. James Maybrick, the Ripper, has a brother, Frank, who wrote music, and he lived in Whitechapel, and he hated women, apparently. Yes.
Opera singer, yeah.
Bishopgate Street, he lived.
Yeah. Well, there was rumours about him being a suspect of...
I'll tell you what I will do in the very near future. I'll do Jack the Ripper with pictures. If you want, I'll do it. So let me know. And I'll tell you what else I might do this week. I might do a current issues on Friday night. What's happening? So I might do that if anyone wants to join me on that. So I'll just end the stream now. Thank you. And James 6. Yeah, do the show on the Ripper. I will do.
Yeah.
I will do, I promise you that. But it'll have to be a different one. It won't be my history show. So what I might have to do is pick an evening and do it that way. And I'll have Anthony on with me.
I'm happy to be the bagman, Frank.
Well, you look like a Ripper anyway. I mean, you rip up chairs, dancing to, they're like Bill Haley of the Comets, when they used to dance in the aisles and ripping it up. Incredible. So, all right, I'll do that. And it's, good night, Frank, Anthony, and chat. You'll never walk alone. Up the Reds and up Liverpool City. Yes, great comment.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks a lot, people. I'm going to end now. I really am. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow night. If you're, honestly, if you're a football fan, just see you tomorrow night. See you on Wednesday at some time for a blogs. At a post-match on Wednesday as well. Bologna game. And see you all Thursday as well. So on Saturday morning for a TV or film review. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Good night, Anthony. See you.